Yeah, but if it wasn't painful, the barrier to entry would be so much easier, and therefore there'd be more people. Therefore, it'd be more competitive.
They are. They live there.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's fools like me are just like, I want to get in there too. I'm so like in this almost like desperation state that there's this guy who does deals in Oklahoma and Tulsa, and he's like buying deals for like 20 grand or whatever. I'm just like, let me just throw like 20 grand this guy's way just so he can buy something. I could be a part of something. Like, I just want to be in it. Let's go.
That's one of the I feel that, and I think it's like a great opportunity to. You can do that. I just think it's a great opportunity to work on that discipline and patience. Like, there's a lot of information's coming out about one of the properties I have under contract right now, which is the new Egypt deal, which is. There's like a 2-family house that we didn't even put in the underwriting because it's a knockdown, we'll build up, but mainly it's to build a mixed use of 3 bedroom apartments, 4 retail. Anyway, it's looking pretty good. Waiting for the appraisal to come back for after it's built. But as we're going into it, we're realizing, they weren't 100% transparent. Yeah, they have permits and everything to build, but they weren't 100% transparent about the septic system and this. The town's going to put in sewer lines, but what if that's in 2 years? I still need a septic system. So multiple things. And as we're looking at it more and more, I'm like, this is a good opportunity to practice that discipline. Don't just do the deal because I want to do a deal. Yeah. It has to still fit my requirements. And it might not. I'll know Wednesday, but it is what it is.
But that's where I'm going back to what you all were saying about you have to be in it for long enough to be able to see some cool stuff happen. That's what I meant. Like, be in it at what level, right? If you're think about it, just let's take it to the extremes just to like explore the space, right? If you're the guy who listens to every podcast and you show up to every networking event, but you just never bought a deal and you did that for 10 years, does that guy ever win? Or if you're the person who's just like buying everything, you're just like, I'll forget my criteria. I'm just going to keep buying. I'm going to lose. I'm going to win. But over time, maybe I'm going to win. I don't know. Like, which person
makes me think of basketball? I'm not worried about it.
No, so the vibration doesn't get picked up.
Oh, my bad.
There you go.
I'm still not worried about it. I'm just kidding. It reminds me of basketball because it's like if you're in every game and the ball is always passed to you, you still have to take the shot, right? But if you keep getting the ball constantly, keep being in the game, but you never take a shot, you'll make nothing. So it's like a combination.
That's a good example.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, legit. Like, because that's the difference.
You have to be in the game to take the shot, but if you don't take the shot, you'll never get the compounding effect of practice and everything else, operating under pressure, everything.
So how much do you compromise on to bring it back to real estate, how much do you compromise on your focus, your buy box? Let's say you are very good at underwriting large multifamily, and to your point, like something comes up, you see a storage unit and you're like, oh, that looks interesting. Do you go after it, or do you stick to the fundamentals that you've won with and stay with the multifamily?
The way I see it, I think this is the best way right now, but it's gonna change in a month. But right,
it's not stagnant.
But the way I see it is right now for me is like, okay, I try to. The more I'm into this shit, the more I'm like, you can't have rigid guidelines because you have to allow yourself the ability to change. So the way I see it is like, okay, what do I want? I want to make money, and I want to do value add, or I want to take away my equity into the deal as fast as possible. That's just our goals right now. So that's all I care about. The vehicle is irrelevant.
We have a very similar goal.
Yeah.
I do have preferred vehicles, but.
Yeah, exactly. I have preferred vehicles, but you have to have the ability, I guess, does it like, I don't know, like what's the difference between a long-term rental BRRRR and a short-term rental BRRRR? It's pretty much, if you're looking for loan pay down, appreciation, cash flow, and tax advantages, either vehicle will take you there.
Sure. Then you just got to adjust your risk profile.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, like, it's the same things, but like, are you going to miss out on all these for us right now? Like, we're not going to miss out. Are we going to miss out on these STR opportunities? No, we want them. Are we going to miss out on the long-term rentals? Maybe, but how do we now combat that? Maybe I like kind of partner with somebody.
I think
so. I think it's just like, what is it that you want, and not sticking to your guns in terms of the vehicle you use to get you there.
My challenge to that is you still have to have some foundation. Like there has to be some foundation in place in order to get you to even make those decisions, right?
Oh, yeah.
To make it very personal about me, again, it's like I have good resources in New Jersey. Like I have you guys, I have realtors, I have, construction people, I have like resources here. And New Jersey for me has been like painful, and it's like, it's not, I'm getting burned by tenants. I'm like, it's very expensive to buy here. And now the thought for me is if I go to another market that's cheaper, I can have more opportunity there. But I have to get into the market, which takes a heavy lift of like learning the market, which is no joke. So it's like, how do you balance things like that are foundational, right? Like when I'm thinking about like whether it's an STR, an LTR, a storage unit or whatever, I'm sort of like not even at that level of decision making yet. I have to start getting deals in, and like watching Freedom grow. You didn't stay in one place. You moved. It's like how were those decisions made? Like, and then how did you learn and grow in that market, and why? Right? Like why?
I mean, a lot of those is just like you start with a theory, and then you just throw how fast you put it into practice.
Yeah.
There's no right answer. It's just like, hey, the market is changing. Damn, are we going to be able to burr? Like, is it going to be as forgivable as it was maybe 3 years ago where we kind of don't care how long it would took because it would have benefited us in terms of the ARV. Now you're going to get punished. And it's like,
kind of reminds me of like those old video games where you have the map in front, it's all dark. And as you pick a direction, and as you walk that way, you start to illuminate the map, which gives you more clarity for further direction.
Yeah.
Illuminate more, gives you more clarity. Meanwhile, you might backstep, you might think you were the wrong, and that's okay. I also think a part of it, I keep thinking of skateboarding as you're talking. And I mean that because like skateboarding was a huge part of my life, but I think a lot of it was based on style. Like, or you can call that like the grouping of like, risk profile, how involved you want to be, what level of passivity you want to be, what level of capital you want to be personally invested, all these different things, but it cultivates into your style. And I think like in skateboarding, I think your style cultivates. You see something that's interesting to you, you pursue it, you learn more about it, you might stick with it, you might go to something else, you might see somebody else do something cool, and how much do you want to pursue and learn that other cool thing?
Right. And I think to one key thing that you said, and that I think is baked into what you're saying, is that time factor, right? And that is one of the keys, because for me, I see it right now. My struggle is like, I know I can do it. I'm not stupid. Like I've done it already. I can do it again. How long is it going to take me to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
can't
factor
think about
hurts.
that. That's the only, I know it sucks, but I feel like you can't think about it. You can't, because then that's how you make bad decisions.
Yeah. Well, I think it's it's just my opinion. I think it's okay to like, to have that in a small consideration, so you're not stagnant doing nothing, obviously. But the more you want it, the more you should put yourself in the environment, not the more you should compromise on whatever you deem fit for an investment.
That's what I was trying to say. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I'm doing a 1031 right now, right? And there's only like 9 days left or 8 days left on choosing the property. And people are like, oh, you got to, what about this? I'm like, yeah, it's overpriced by say $100,000, $200,000 or whatever. And like, yeah, but you'll save on that. And I'm like, not worth it. Like for me, again, this is a very small 1031 exchange. I mostly wanted to do it for the repetition and know what it felt like to have that pressure and practice the discipline. I'm trying to make sure, like, okay, worst case scenario, I pay X amount in, taxes, and it was $1,200 to do it. All right, for $1,200 in taxes that are really just getting deferred, it's not worth making a bad decision.
Sure.
It's just not. So this is a great practice for my discipline right now. I'm like, okay, what if I don't find something? That's okay.
Yeah, it's like it sucks, but
I'm gonna look. But I'm putting
okay.
myself in there because it's relevant. It's part of my environment. Like, okay, I'm gonna look. I have this little spur. That does not mean I'm gonna buy. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, great. Like it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Surrender to the outcome. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Just put yourself in much as you want to be and surrender to the outcome, with like Ronny was suggesting. I think.
Man. I was supposed to the perfect plan for me was like, not with Freedom, just personally, was the next thing was like, okay, I sold my house, my primary, before the 3 to 5. So I'm gonna sell this property now, get all that money, tax free, and now like, okay, let's throw that somewhere. Like let me do a living project, and then it's like I can't find anything. So now like that money's not doing anything, but I want to sit on it in case an opportunity comes. There's nothing I can do. Like I keep looking, but
inflation's giving you pretty good returns, if nothing else.
yeah, I mean, like market's getting fucking like 5.5%. I think. Like I'll take it.
That's my point. Like I understand the real return is probably lower because inflation's like what the last year and a half's been like 2 years been 9. No, it was more.
Did you guys hear about the true number about that?
No.
Well, there's probably a lot of true numbers.
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
It was 18.
18
annually over the last 2 years. What are you saying?
18 annually.
It's so hard because these indexes are so weighted depending. So I've heard criticisms like, well, if you did it according to the index in the 80s, then it would be so much higher. And then, but there's the other alternative point is like the 80s index might not be as relative because there's different expenses now.
Yeah.
We have different expenses we have to consider. Do I think that the government probably puts the CPI and whatever's going to favor them? Yeah, I do.
Sure.
I'd like to think they don't, but they probably do. And it's great because there's all types of indexes you can look at.
Yeah, yeah.
I kind of have like the Paul Christie. What is inflation to me right now? Like how much is my food going up? How much is my, my insurances on properties going up? That's what I care about personally. The Paul Christie inflation and shit, because I don't care about derivatives and all this stuff. It's kind of a lot. It's like 30-something%. I feel like to get a coffee now is like $5. It's wild.
It's interesting though, because like, I literally was looking at this last night because it was Thirsty Thursday, right? So I was looking at...
I'm going to the next one after this month because this is the last month I'm not drinking. I'm going to already. I miss it.
But like, I was looking at my bottles of scotch and I'm like, which one do I want to bring? And I've gotten some really nice bottles and I was like, there's going to be a lot of people. I don't like to bring really nice bottles when there's going to be a lot of people because it's just
going to go to waste for sure.
So I'm like, I want to bring something that's like, I don't know, like $75, something like that. And I'm looking at all the bottles and I know what I paid for them, but now I'm like, how much are they worth now? And I'm looking at the prices. They all went up. And I'm like, these are all over $100 now. I bought them like less than 100. So it's interesting. It kind of like was a small moment of crystallization for me of like, this is why it's important to own shit like now, because 100%. Regardless of what happens, I mean, you still have to be able to maintain it and still hold on to it. But
dude, I say the currency is like the ocean and your assets are like the boats. They just float. They go with it. As inflation goes up, so does your boat.
Yep. But that's the interesting thing is like, that's the juxtaposition of like, if you don't own shit and inflation is affecting you, it hurts way more than if you own a whole bunch of shit and now it went up because of inflation. You're just like, all right.
That's why they always say money always floats to the top. Like, that's what happened. Like all them COVID checks, everybody was like, everyone who owns stuff was like, I know where that's going.
Exactly.
I
just got into real estate like as that was happening. And I just remember thinking like, that was fortunate. I took all of my money. Like I didn't have even that much. I took like all of it and put it into real estate to the point where I was paying for, it's not wise. I wouldn't recommend this, but I was paying for like the rehabs and stuff with my paychecks. Like I had no more money. I was here you go. And it paid off very well. In hindsight, would I recommend that? No, it's dumb as shit. I got lucky. I was so lucky. But yeah, you're right. It helped people with assets a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Helped me with like crazy.
Yeah. Like people are like, oh, I don't like inflation sucks, but at least I can like, okay, what I spend day to day. Cause a lot of there's lagging indicators and everything else. They look at rents. Well, the indexes weigh everything out, nationally or globally. What do you actually buy? I don't buy airfare that much. So that being high doesn't really affect me. I don't rent. So that doesn't really affect me either. Yeah. If you're not buying properties, that doesn't really affect you. So I don't know. I just look at the things that I buy, and what I buy has gone up a lot. But let's say it costs me an extra $20,000 a year for the stuff that I buy. But a couple assets went up $400,000.
Right.
I'll take it.
Take it every day.
That's
no, 100%.
Exactly. I mean, it's interesting how also the pandemic just put a nice like spin on the whole world. It's very interesting. But like one of the things that I'm finding that is just I still kind of struggle with, but I'm more leaning towards like not doing this stuff anymore, heavily at least. You ever notice now that literally okay, not literally. Almost everything has a freaking tip associated with it.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Like you go to buy a pack of gum and you check out and it's like, how much do you want to tip? I'm just like, what? I have to tip for gum? Well, like what happened? Like I don't understand.
Problem is, like, you probably shouldn't support that. I tip way too much. I'm like a people pleaser. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, I'll give you $1. Like,
But that's how but that's why it's
You
there.
shouldn't,
It's
but
literally to play on
refuse.
your emotions, to look the person in the face
Yeah.
and be like 0.
get nothing,
But like,
gum boy.
oh, but if you think about it, like before the pandemic, I think it's built into POSs now, and so like they just flip the screen towards you, and it's like, how much you want to tip? It's like 4 years ago, this wasn't even a choice. There was no like, you literally had to come out of pocket for the people that you wanted to be like, oh, this person like took care of me.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because on top of inflation and things costing more, I was at the airport when I flew out to Dallas, and we already know airport stuff already costs more. Now, granted, I'm a bougie coffee drinker because I worked in coffee shops for a long time, but
Oh, so
Me
did
too.
you?
Yeah, I was a manager.
Oh,
yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
It was- yeah, it
and
was
I have
great.
to tip my barista because
I
I always tip my barista.
Same. I don't care what's going on
I
in
don't
the
care if I
world.
get a black coffee. I tip because I remember
100%.
it making me feel good. Like,
100%.
yeah.
I tipped this person too. I got a like a chai with oat milk, like that size. What is that? Six.
Oh, dude, it's
8
probably
ounces?
like $9.
It was freaking $8.
Oh.
And I tipped the person $1 because I'm gonna tip. And it's $9. And I like that size cup. Like I walked away from the counter just thinking to myself, like,
Got robbed.
I literally just spent $9.
crazy.
$9 on this drink that's like 2 seconds of a drink. It was wild.
What's really wild is it doesn't seem to be pricing people out that much. I think people are just putting more on credit now. It's not like they're. I'm sure to a degree it's preventing. There's some
scary.
barrier, but I think a lot of it's just going under credit. People aren't adjusting their lifestyles. They're just kind of compensating with credit.
You know, that's a like that. This is my theory on what's happening. I think there's like it's like an undercover thing, but I think there's like a personal credit crisis happening. Like, and I think this is like anecdotal. I have no research, but like,
See if Dave Ramsey will come on the next show.
he would be fucking. He must be going crazy if what I'm saying is true. But a lot of people, right? I'm getting a lot of people that want to sell their house. Tons of people. I'm comparing, I guess, this Q1 of this year versus Q1 of last year. Last year was brutal for us. Q1 of this year has been doing really well. Going back to not really well. I'm gonna say that. Like, I guess we were picking up good contracts consistently last year. This year we'll pick up like maybe 3, maybe 4 a month, which I want to be at 6
For wholesales or flips or
anything, but like quality, I guess, opportunities coming my way. So that could be listings, wholesales, and like flips that we take on ourselves.
just like transaction units.
Yeah. So about 3 to 4 is kind of like okay. 6 is where like we're doing pretty good. We're probably going to be 7-figure business at that point. So we're like at 3 to 4 now. But point is, a lot of these people, what I'm learning is that they're not willing to sacrifice too much on price. And I'm like, but it makes sense. It's like the asset itself is still strong, but they need to sell because of all that personal debt they have. So what that leads a lot of people in is like they'll sell retail. So a lot of the properties we're getting, we're not buying it to flip because there's not enough of a spread, but they still want to sell. So what keeps happening with us is that we're locking these up as a retail listing, and these things are getting sold right away at like good prices.
So like Jagger's listing them.
You have an
Yeah.
agent?
Huh?
He's an agent?
Yeah. So I mean, Jagger doesn't list it, like he doesn't do any of the work, but he's a agent in Jersey. So like he'll like lock it up and then just give the listing to like somebody that we trust. Or in PA, we have like this kid who's a stud. Who we trust him, so he'll go to the appointment and lock it up. Jagger's not licensed up there, but like for example, in January we had like 3 referral listings like that are moving. February we picked up like 2 or 3 more, and it's a lot of that.
Is there a sense that these people are able to hold, or is there a sense that they're gonna fail, they're gonna crumble
soon enough, but not to a point. Like if the asset itself was in distress, that's where you get super discounted properties. But if
'Cause it won't
they're
do
in
well on the
distress,
market,
yeah. But if they're in
Right.
distress, exactly,
If a retail buyer wouldn't be able to get a loan on it, then now they're stuck.
correct. Yeah.
Not only not get a loan, but also just I think a lot of retail buyers, since prices are so inflated, they have this like whether it's right or not, they have this sense of I'm paying this much, this stuff better be done.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying it's accurate or not. It just that seems
just
to be
is.
that's anecdotal. That's just what I've seen.
I mean, I feel like that's always been the case, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess so, but I think I think there's an emotional barrier because of how much things have gone up in the last few years. I think like people used to think of $500,000 on a house, I should be getting this. Dude, we're in Rahway right now. This isn't like I grew up in this town. This isn't like known to be like bougie town or anything like that. It's gotten a lot nicer, but you're not getting much for even here. $500,000 is like $500,000 is very like you'll find something, but you're not getting like the house of your dreams. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, and it might need some work and it's wild, man.
That's why it's so interesting to me to just like, if you can hold on to stuff, just maybe just getting back to what I was saying before, like maybe that guy who's just like going a little bananas, you know, as long as you can hold it, maybe the guy who is just buying stuff and not making like great decisions on the buys, but is making enough of a good decision that they can hold it for a long term.
I love that expression, good enough. I really am a big fan because I think perfection prevents people. I think good enough is I know it's good enough. Don't just be, it's probably good enough.
Right.
But I couldn't agree more. I love, I think David Green said it was like real estate's the forgiving asset because given enough time, it will be fine.
Yeah,
as long as you can, and that he also says cash flow is a defensive metric. It's just to help you keep it.
Right. Yeah. To maintain
my mindset changed so much after I heard that.
Yeah.
Because I was always like, am I doing something wrong? Because I'm like,
yes,
this
you didn't
cash
start in
flow is
2011.
bullshit.
So yeah, you did do something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was like, I can't bank on this cash flow. Like,
Right.
this is crazy. This is just like, it's almost like, I forgot what you call that. When like, let's say the three of us, every week someone puts in gives someone $100 to get a large sum. And then the next couple of weeks you're paying the other person.
Yeah, Ponzi scheme.
Not a Ponzi scheme. Like
No,
when
there is a word for that. It's a West Indian thing.
Yeah.
African thing. I don't know,
Like
other cultures.
yeah,
I
whatever.
forget what
Like
you call it.
exactly.
Does it
but-
not sound like a Ponzi scheme?
No, it's not. It's not really
this.
a Ponzi
So think about it
scheme.
like this: say there's five of us, right? And each of us want to buy something large, but
Yeah.
don't want to take out like a loan for it.
Yeah.
What you do is, like the five of us, we each like pick a number off a hat, whatever number you get that week, you get the large sum.
Okay.
So like for people that are like, I guess my family used to do it because like they were barely getting off, so they want to do something nice. What they'll do is that they'll get the 500 first, and then every paycheck they'll give $100 to the next person.
Okay.
It's not like
it's not a Ponzi scheme because the money is literally
There,
there.
yeah.
Where it's tricky is like if someone doesn't pay.
that's where it gets
That's
crazy.
where it gets tricky.
Yeah.
So like the first person is
foreign to
probably
So you're just
it takes a lot of
recycling
trust.
money around?
Yeah.
Yeah. But think about it. Like if I have like $100 and I could afford to spend $100, but I can't afford to spend $500, right?
But I need to buy this flight today.
Yeah. That's what
For example.
That's what credit cards do, but they charge you.
Yeah,
Right.
but like a lot of it's like there were these like my family because they didn't have credit.
Yeah.
They, you know what I'm saying, they had a passport and
So
that's
just
it.
like communities did this for each other.
Yeah.
exactly.
exactly, yeah.
They're like each other's banks almost.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds nice.
Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is that is how I view cash flow. It's just me putting money into something and then bang, the roof goes out.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gathering money again.
That's
then
kind of what it is.
that's
a
what
lot
it
of
is.
times. Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, obviously, who doesn't want to just have great cash flow, right?
Yeah.
It'd be awesome. But I don't know. That's why, again, I bring it back to this. That's why I'm starting to really like triple net leases.
Yeah.
Because like I just feel like maybe from economy of scale, and I'm not an expert by any means, but like the building we're supposed to be closing on next week, it's, the cash flow's not killer, but as long as it's occupied, I mean, they're responsible for the roof. They're responsible for the property taxes, the property insurance, snow. I mean, literally anything that happens, if there's an environmental issue, that's on them. And then if tenants don't pay them, that's fine. It's a master lease. You're still on the hook, man.
Yeah.
Like I love that. Now, granted, you can say there's more risk because there's one tenant, he's a master tenant, but the subtenants defer to me, yada, yada, yada. But I like it because I'm like, wow, this cash flow seems, I don't know yet, more like, oh, it's actual cash flow. However, when they leave, if there's things I have to fix, you got to be on top of the game. So I'm going to do inspections every 6 months and give them lists of like, hey, this is not to performance or whatever else. But yeah, I don't know. Otherwise it seems so unpredictable. I'd rather take 5%. It's like a risk adjusted return, right? I'd rather take a 5% cash on cash return from like a triple net than a 10% cash on cash return because it seems so much more volatile.
Yeah, and you can bank on that 5% more likely. Like it's more likely to occur than the variable, and it depends also, right? Like where you're at in investing too, right?
And also, like you can, I did research on the company, and we also filed a credit report for this business that's running it.
Yeah,
flying colors, just flying colors, and if they default, I mean, they have legitimate assets. I can take them to court to seize or whatever else.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it just seems.
That's very nice. What? I know you're laughing the same reason I'm probably laughing.
Why are you guys laughing?
Because of these fucking tenants. Let me tell you about what happened to me.
You've heard me say that's why I got into commercial.
Yeah. Bro, you know what I'm fucking dealing with right now? Luckily I had enough hedge that like I got lucky. But this is the first, like my record is pretty clean in terms of tenants. Like I am a psycho. I've been known to park in front of the house that you say you live in now. Yeah. And I will confirm that you went to work because you said you work in this place. So I expect you to be gone by 8:30 because you got to get to work at 9.
You calling them up and answer the phone. Hey, where you at right now? I'm at work. Car hasn't left.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow.
You work from home?
I've done shit like that. I've gone to tell people. I did this to someone here in Rahway. Never forget. I was like, hey, you forgot to sign something. Lies. I forgot to print out the sheet because I didn't want you to sign it. So I can call you and then be like, no. I'll go to you. Let me know where you at. And I made it. And she was like, no, it's fine. I was like, no. I'm in my car. I just need an address. Yeah. I went to her and then I went to her door and I was like, oh, it looks pretty nice in here. Let me see. And she started laughing. I was like, nah, right? You're going to go into the unit. Let me see. You say you're super clean. I want to see it. And she's like, okay, look. And I was like, I'm a psycho with this. And I found a tenant. She's Section 8. She's young. I like young tenants if I can get their mom or dad or whoever to co-sign. That's how I treat them. Absolutely. I love it.
The parents can co-sign for Section 8?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep. They can.
I'm probably converting the Rahway place once we're done with the construction.
Do it.
All Section 8.
You should. So that's what I did with her. She was good to co-sign. And I told the mom directly, I'm like, look, if something goes wrong, just know I have no intentions to go after your daughter just because she probably doesn't have anything. She doesn't know enough. She's only till like 23, 24. Like, you're the one I want. So just know I'm not an attorney, but I'm gonna make it very clear to the attorney that you've been living where you've been living for 30 years. Oh, wow. And you've been working in this job, so I know you like stability. And I was like, and I will destroy you.
Was that before or after she signed?
That was before she signed.
Do you think that 23, 24-year-olds are just not as I always wonder this, like, are we just not as mature, responsible, hardworking as like they were decades ago? Because
nah, bro.
Because now you're right. You're 23, 24. I think of a kid, but then like but are you a kid? I mean,
you are a kid.
But I feel like when I was 23, I got out of the Marine Corps at that point. I was running a few bit. Like I was doing a lot.
It's all based on your experience.
It depends because I know what 23-year-old Ronny was doing. Yeah. And I had no business being responsible for anything at 23. It took me till 27.
I was an idiot. I just wasn't an idiot when it came to work. Like I worked. But
I
was an idiot in so many other capacities. I'm still an idiot in a lot of capacities. Yeah. But I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, I'm thinking of my dad. My dad, when he was like 20, by the time he was 21, he had 3 kids that he was supporting and a wife and everything else. And he delivered pizza. He did whatever he had to do. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't even see kids walking around to shovel snow. I used to think, oh, cha-ching, when it was snowing out, and I go like,
hell yeah, I used to do that.
Yeah. What's changed? Like, why is it? Because to me, I think
we're a wealthier country. That's number one.
That's true. But you're in your mid fucking 20s. Like,
yeah.
But what happened with the lady?
So Section 8, I've got the mom, and they paid no problem the first month deposit. It's a hefty deposit. I do a month and a half. So what? That's $2,150 for the rent plus a month and a half. So that's like what? Like fucking almost $5,000. 2-bedroom. Right here in Rahway.
Yeah, that's why I'm switching to Section 8. For my 3-bedroom, I'm getting well over $3,000.
Yeah.
Oh, not 3-bedroom. It's a 4-bedroom, and I'm like, I charge them like $1,850 right now.
That's crazy.
Well, it's also way under
No,
market.
no,
It's
no.
a family.
I understand the
can't-
situation.
it's
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
to-
But yeah, so I thought it was good. I like I said, I researched. She's in school. She's about to land a nice job. Her mom is her mom is paying everything. I love that. And come February, she moved in January. Come February, just ghosted me. And everyone.
Oh.
Shit.
And then they started playing a game of like, they would call me like, oh, Ronny, I'm having an issue with apartments.com. That's what we use to like for them to pay us.
I use it, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. But sometimes on the onboarding process, they forget that you have to report the two transactions they send to you, like 30 cents and 20 cents to confirm your bank account. So I understand the first month, I'm like, I'll take a money order. Don't worry about it. I know it could be tricky. And I should have never said that. But it's never backfired. So that right there was like, now I'm going to play the game. So they've been playing the game with me for the whole month. And I was like, okay, Ryan, at one point I know how to play this back too.
So they didn't give you the money order?
They haven't given it to me yet.
Oh.
So the mom was like, I wrote her $500, $850 out of her pocket. So I was like, well, she hasn't sent it. But then I saw the mom. I was like, now I think the mom is bullshitting me. So I was like, let me make one more phone call. And I'm like, hey, just want to let you know, I'm going to go after you. I'm going to have the attorney go after you at full capacity. You don't have to do anything. I just wanted to give you the respect that I'm not doing something like this behind your back. I'm sure there's probably things going on with you guys. Maybe you guys don't want to share. I get it. Life happens. I got to do my job. I apologize. Boom. She got lucky because I don't like going through eviction for one. If you don't know at least $2,000, just because it doesn't make sense. And I reached out to Section 8 and I was like, hey, just a heads up, I'm going to evict this person. And I don't know what happened, but I guess she reached out to the tenant and her portion went from $800 to $200. So now
Inconsistencies, yeah.
Yeah, but which I'm like now,
That's
now
better for you.
yeah, it's better for me. But now I guess like I have to put my emotions to the side because now I really want to come. Like, and I'm like, let's fucking get this person.
Why?
Exactly. It's just my emotion. It's just ego for sure, and I recognize it. I still feel it, but I recognize that. Don't do it because it just doesn't make sense. Like, keep taking the 1986. Keep sending the eviction notes every month. So if you have to do it later on. But now you're talking about even if they don't pay the $200, they got to pay out of pocket. Let's say
right for a whole year.
It's gonna take like a whole year before it amounts up to $2,000. Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just have to I guess it hurt my ego because I've never I'm the one that does the flexing most of the time, and they flexed on me, So it's like they fucking got me.
They're playing the system.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of like New York does that with like tickets.
100%.
Like, they're like, we'll charge enough where you're not going to take off of work.
Yeah.
But you're definitely going to have to pay it. And like,
yeah,
they use the system, man. And I hate that because then I feel like it kind of ruins the system for a lot. I just feel like, people with that story and stuff like that might be less inclined to have more Section 8 housing, right?
Yeah.
And I think it can really ruin it for a lot of people.
Also,
you poison the well too much and
100%.
Nobody wants to drink from it.
Like, what if your numbers don't work? You know what I mean? Like, what if you needed the full amount?
Well, nowadays
that's
you
the thing
probably
that's fucked
do.
up.
I was gonna say,
that's like
yeah.
your only profit, maybe.
We're lucky, of course. Like, I ran that property underwriting. I ran it at $1,600, and it made sense at 16.
And you're doing 19, even if they don't pay.
Yeah, like we're at 1986, and every other unit is at 2,000.
Are you going to send them to collections?
If I let them determine what actions I take. The more transparent you are, the more no matter what. Like most tenants, I always work with tenants, especially now because like inflation hits those people hard.
Yeah.
So I work with them, but I need transparency.
Yeah, I agree. I've had people
if
call
you
me
ghost
and say,
me,
I gotta be late, and I was like, "You're good." I didn't give them the fees or anything like that. Just
like if you ghost me, because now my mind's going crazy, But if you be like, look, there's a lady. She was on disability. She had surgery. She's literally blind CCing me on the emails. So I'll figure it out with you. I'm like, okay, as long as you stick to your guns. I'm like, listen.
With a person like that, you want to help them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, how can we make this work?
Yeah,
for you,
and she's paying, I think, an extra $25. She owes $800, for a while, and I'm like, as long as I don't care if you tell me you're gonna pay $10 a month extra, but you better stick to that. So whatever number you say, don't make it to make me happy. Make it a number that no matter how hard life gets, you can still pay this. Yeah. And it was $25. I was like, that's fine. Pay the 25. We're good.
I don't know if this is true. I'd love to think that most landlords, at least on a smaller scale, it's not corporate. It's like you care about them. They're people.
Yeah.
You want them to thrive. You want them to do well. You want them to have good lives and good things. And so I appreciate that sentiment a lot because that matters to me. I really care about like people that are renting from me. I want to do a good job, and I'm sure I know I made mistakes and I'm growing, but
of course.
But yeah, no, it's
How many units do you manage?
It's
Like dozens or
no,
like 5?
we sold a bunch of them, so I'm only managing 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 10, I think.
Okay.
So I manage 10, and then we have the STRs, but I'm not like a day to day. Yeah.
I want to build a property. I want to build a property management team. Okay, so one, I don't like doing it, just straight up the bat. But yeah, I already started. So if we close on that building, we're supposed to close on everything's pretty much done. But next week, that just
this is residential, not commercial.
Well, I'm gonna use. How do I put it? I'm going to use these. All right, I'm going to start from the beginning. Basically, I don't like residential that much, but in the next few months, everything closes. I'm not gonna. Like I said, I sold my houses and stuff, so it's just we're gonna have in the near future when the projects we're on right now are completed, somewhere between 4, 5, 6, 7, 13. I don't know, probably like 20 something units, right? But that's not including. Then we're also gonna have somewhere between 50 to 60,000 square feet in like warehousing type stuff. That
different animal.
It's not for that. But the properties we're buying, we're paying. We set up a sponsorship company for management, so we get off the top before anybody gets profits, we get management fees. They're pretty small relative to everything else, but we're actually using it for a management team. So I'm hiring this one person. I already talked to him about it. So she does all that stuff, like whether it stays on top of keeping them utilized, whether it's evictions or whatever else. Because I don't want to deal with that. And I think my hardest thing about it is I'll underwrite a property. I like doing it. I like to think I'm pretty decent at it. And like where can we grow potential? What are the town's zoning requirements? Can I build 4 more units? Whatever it is. But the problem is, like I'll give you one in New Brunswick we're doing right now. It's a 6 unit, and it has great potential. It's not getting done because I'm so focused on growing. We're not actually managing it to the extent where it's still profitable, cash flows and everything else. But if we just did the light maintenance work and we upped the rents like we're supposed to, it would help so much. I'm like, obviously it's not something I'm doing well because my attention's here. So let me get somebody who can do that. And I can just give her the game plan. And then when the time comes, she's staying on top of it to get it raised. Get everything raised, get everything managed properly, get people out who have to go out, offer the cash for keys because that's what I want to do to get a lot of these people out. I want to make it advantageous. Like, I'll give you this much money if you leave, pay for your whatever to get them out. And even though we don't have to, because technically we're doing enough construction in this town to I think just get people out, but whatever.
Why do you want to run it in-house versus just hiring someone?
Because I want me personally, one, it's cheaper. And 2, for when you have enough units, there's economic scale. It's just cheaper.
When you have enough units, yeah.
2, I want an infrastructure. So when I buy something, I already have people trained that know how to bring it up to the next level. So I'll underwrite it with the plan. We close on the property. Here's the plan. Go do it. I go look for more properties. I buy it. I underwrite it. Here's the plan. Go do it. And now I have an infrastructure so she'll be managing, let's say 20 something units, right? She's probably capable of doing maybe 30 or 40 something. Now I also have an administrator. She's not doing the administrative and the bookkeeping. I have another person who does that, but we're only paying them per hour. So like right now, she only has like 5 to 10 hours worth of work, but I can get more out of it. And she has a lot of experience in it. So now the next handful of properties, I can just kind of dump onto them to handle that stuff. I have to keep up with them and manage them, but I've already worked with them now for a couple of years in other capacities. I trust them. And it's a lot cheaper. It's like a lot cheaper.
What do you pay the person?
So the administrator, I think I'm doing $25 an hour. The other person, I think I'm doing, this isn't even that cheap, but I think we're going to do initially $75 a unit a month. However, I do want that to, when we hit 30 or 40, I want to eventually scale that down. Or I want to offer maybe like a salary or something like that.
It's going to get to that.
Yeah, but she's also a realtor. She has great experience. I love her ethics. She really does care about the tenants. That matters a lot to me because I don't want somebody just treating them like shit. I hate that. She really cares about making sure all the environmental concerns are taken care of and just safe, healthy properties. So, yeah, I just want the infrastructure so I know when I acquire it, it's handled, and now I have a team that's experienced. And if they have to leave, they can train somebody, whatever. I'm sure that'll grow. But then also with that infrastructure, now I can start taking on other people's. Like, say this guy has 16 units or that guy has 4 units. Throw it in. It's already costing me X amount. I might as well profit from it and grow a business. And maybe one day, if it's autonomous enough, I can leverage the equity in the business.
Yeah. You can also that's also going to end up becoming like most property management companies only do it as a marketing and acquisitions funnel. Yeah, which is fine. I could use some acquisitions. An acquisition funnel. No, yeah, but I learned that about property management. I was like, like almost every management company I would speak to, they were like, yeah, it's just it's an acquisitions business, which kind of gets me like, I kind of go when I heard that, I kind of got like a little bit like, damn, I don't like that. I don't like that. A lot of property management companies. That's why I like you doing it in-house. A lot of property management companies, you got the wrong guy up top. He's almost like managing to fail to acquire.
Well, there could be an incentive. Sure.
Yeah, 100%. Like maybe it's not direct, but it just gets weird. So
yeah, I mean, honestly,
that's another reason like why I like you kind of doing it in-house.
I think there's going to be a lot of things I'm wrong about in my initial like plan of building a property management side.
Yeah.
I think there's so much I don't know. I'm confident, but I'm excited to learn it because again, the idea is I really just want to have infrastructure for everything that I acquire so I can give it off to a team that I work with that will, again, there's a 20 unit and we have to raise them each $200 and everything else. So we want to do it in this phase. Fine. But the work of doing that, coming out with the contracts, offering this stuff, going back and forth. Also, when she gets on with marketing, I have to pick up cash from a lot of these guys still because they don't speak English. There's a barrier. She speaks Spanish, which is so useful. But she's going to go to them with their iPad and walk them through signing up automatic payments. Yeah. Because I'm not blaming them. They don't get it. And I don't know how to explain it to them. So, or they might get it. Maybe, who knows? But my point is she's going to walk them through it. So now, okay, all the money's automatically coming through. I don't have to worry about picking it up. And it's all easier to keep track of.
100%.
It's just worth, and also just the lack of headache. So I don't have to do it and I can focus on it. It's just worth it to me.
That's the only way to scale.
Yeah.
I think it comes up to that. Like even like that call that before we started of like, I'm like, fuck, the guy called me. Like I have to give him an answer, but I want to remove this thing. He was asking about like a 1099 and I'm like, I don't handle that part. I'm like,
that guy,
like, I don't know. And I want to tell him very clear cut, like, I'm not the guy. I'm going to send the message and send you to the right person because you learn that, like, especially as you get more and more stuff, you think like, and you made a great example of it. It's not just raising rents. If it was that easy, no. It's the logistics behind
the concept of raising rent
yeah.
is easy, but getting someone to do it actually.
That shit is work.
Like, I can just raise the rent. It could be a lot of work, and then you might have vacancies. Then you have to show the product.
Yeah,
and then or maybe they want certain things to be fixed first, and then you have to order the maintenance.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give her the vendors I use, and anything under probably gonna do something like anything under $1,000, anything under $750.
Do it.
Don't even consult me.
Yeah,
just don't even if it's under that amount.
That's what we do.
Every 3 months, we'll go over what you spent.
Yeah.
If I need to, just email me the records, and I'll just look like, that's reasonable.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only way. That's the only way to scale. It's
when you get bigger, let me know. I'll start paying you to do my property management.
Start paying me now. I just charge you more so I can afford it.
There it is.
Just kidding. No, but yeah, if it does work out, because this is gonna I plan on implementing this April. Like probably I'm gonna try for April 1st. Is like to start implementing this. If it works out for a few months, absolutely, I'll give it to you for the rate that I get it at probably. Plus, maybe a couple thousand, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm paying 8% now, and they're good, but it's never going to be as good as I would want it to be. And I feel like because we're more aligned than my property manager and myself, like you would do a better job if you're.
Do you see what you just did though? Like cause we know each other, right? And there's other friends that I have that have 12 units or 16 units. That's why I think once it has an infrastructure that I really trust myself, I think it's going to be value for my friend. Like, oh yeah, I'll add 12 units or I'll add whatever.
Yeah.
I think I can make it a profitable. I don't think it's going to be, like you said, a huge profit. But then if we're actively working together and, you're not happy about it and you're going to sell it, you're going to want the information from us and everything else. You might even want our realtors to sell it.
Right,
You know,
sure.
and then maybe, who knows, maybe I'll buy it. Be like, dude, let's just do it off market. You'll save the realtor fees. We'll give you what is your assessment? Good enough for us. Like, I'm already familiar with the property. It's less risk if I take it over. So I'll
So
pay a
now
little bit more.
Paul's running my properties into the ground so you can buy them for a cheaper price.
So I'm planting the seed, right? I saw
Wink.
it. I saw it. Nah, but I think that's the cool thing with relationships.
That's 100%.
Like, because that's the only difference.
Yeah.
Like, but a lot of the times, like, we make tons of mistakes, but at least, like, I don't think people think that people want perfection in terms of, like, when you provide a service.
transparency.
It's transparency.
Communication. Stay talk. Don't just leave.
Yeah, it's just they just want transparency. Like, even that guy, I was like, "Oh, my bad, bro. We mailed it to 86.95." Like, because of that inconvenience, how about we just wire you, Zelle you, Venmo, whatever works, because we made a mistake. People just want to hear, and they'll be mad for sure. I'm not saying they're going to be like, this motherfucker, like, why you mailed it to my neighbor? Like, it's not like, what if they opened it? We fucked up. We're like, that's a mistake we made. But mistakes are going to occur nonstop. Just get over it.
Yeah.
Like, not the person get over it. You have to get over the fact that you're not going to be perfect.
I think at a smaller level, you get more transparency because you actually known me long enough to at least have some inclination of my ethical boundaries and everything else. Like, you understand that, whatever. Also, you see me and talk to me regularly, so I'm like, hey, how's this going? But also, what's really great, and I'd like to do this, is benefit, but also people can leverage, like, for example, say you bought a value add or whatever. That's a lot to fucking manage. Value adds are a lot, depending on what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, if you're adding 4 units and you have architecture, like, you know, everything involved, that can be a full-time job. But if I'm already doing that and property managing for it, yeah, you'd have to charge for it. But I have the contractors that I know do it. I have, you know, the property manager I know do it. I can go over the underwriting with you. And yes, you'd have to charge that. But I don't think a lot of property managers, I don't know if they really work that way where they actually will help facilitate your value add. And maybe there's a reason. Maybe I'll learn that I can't do it.
They will, but it goes like this. Yeah, I got you. And all they're going to do is they're going to find the GC that's already putting a 20% premium on it. Yes. And then they're going to put a 10% on it and then say that they're doing it.
Yeah, they're GCing the GCs.
Legit.
Yeah.
That's legit what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you do have to charge because, you know, you still have to manage the GCs.
Oh,
absolutely. But again, I don't know, like my reputation at a smaller level, your reputation matters so much. It's your brand that you're building. I can't afford to not be transparent and not do a good job. And I think that should be leveraged by people who want that.
But I think that a difference there, a key difference, and then I have to go get on this call, is you can just say it. Like, you can just say it, right? If you have a trusted and that's why relationships are so important. If you have a trusted relationship with someone that you're providing a service to, they expect to pay for it. All you have to do is say, like, hey, you can go out and get a GC and then they're going to charge you 20%. If you want us to do it, we'll get a GC. They're going to charge us 20% and we have to put our cost on top of that. And the person just gets to make an honest decision versus
100%
feeling like, oh, they got over on me because they just went out and got
there
this
might
GC.
be value to that. Like, damn,
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what? Fuck, I
For
gotta.
me.
Yeah, like it's either I'm gonna pay 10% with the fact that I'm so busy, or
Exactly.
even more, or at least I know Prince is overseeing this guy. Yeah, he should get paid because he has to oversee. But I trust him.
Exactly.
To
I think that would be so valuable to have someone that does that because, like, I think the hardest lesson that I had to learn in the beginning, and I guess I'm still in the beginning, was managing. I thought so naively, I'll just give it to a GC and he'll do it.
Yeah, that's everybody.
Joke, like not even
Gotcha.
a little bit. Yeah, got me a few times. Like that just must have been the wrong GC. You have to manage them.